Anupriya from Mumbai wrote to me, "Hi Sarika, I'm in customer care and my job is to give people information about our products and services and also to close sales. All I hear whenever I make a call is complaints or people hanging up saying, not interested. It's so frustrating. I know most people find cold calls on the phone a pain because they've been bombarded with cold calls lately and it's super annoying. But for me, that's my bread and butter. Please suggest how do I engage with people when making cold calls?" Thank you for sharing your problem with me, Anupriya. In fact, cold calls are disturbing for most of us. But it is my promise you're going to find your answer by the end of this episode. So stay tuned. In the last two episodes, we've been talking about how to sound smart instantly. And earlier on, I've shared two hugely impactful strategies. Number one being use the pause, and number two being, what was it? Yes, do you remember? Using precise words. For this week, I'm going to unpack the final and extremely powerful strategy that can make you come across as smart, sharp, and intelligent almost instantly. A lot of people think that in order to sound smart, you got to have all the answers. But hang on, doesn't that sound a little too textbook? I mean, you might be thinking, wait, what? I thought being smart meant knowing everything. When was the last time someone threw a question at you that made you stop and think, wow, that's a really good one? Has that happened? That kind of question doesn't need a perfect answer to make you sound clever. In fact, it's the question itself that shows you're sharp, even if you don't know all the facts. Think about a time when you were in a conversation. What felt more engaging? When someone was listing off their opinions, their facts, or when they asked questions that got you thinking? I bet it was the second one. So today, like I said, we're diving into the final strategy to make you sound smarter instantly. And that is the art of asking smart questions. And I promise by the end of this episode, you'll walk away with some tools that make you sound way smarter than you thought was possible. I keep sharing tips and hacks to better your speaking and writing skills on my Insta handle, Communicate101. So, in case you're not following already, I'm sure you'll love following that as well. All right, let's dive into today's episode. The Chief Minister was giving a press conference about new plans to build a large shopping mall in the center of the town. The mall was supposed to bring in more business, more jobs, more opportunities. But then there was a pause in the speech. During that pause, Prajapati, who was a senior citizen in the audience, he raised his hand. He wasn't an expert on business or urban planning, but he had something on his mind. Prajapati said, "Excuse me, Minister, I understand that the mall could bring in jobs, business, but why are we building a shopping mall in the middle of the town? We have so many empty stores there already. Won't it add to the traffic, cause more chaos, more pollution?" Suddenly, the room went quiet. The minister was caught off guard, but he tried to respond saying that business would boost economy, new jobs, etc. But Prajapati wasn't convinced. He said, "I get that. But if we're talking about supporting businesses, why not on the outskirts where there's empty land? Why are we choosing a massive new place right in the middle of the city? Why not help make the city center more appealing instead of creating something that would drive people away?" A media person added to this, "That's actually a really good point. Why hasn't anyone thought of that before?" The rest of the media personnel also applauded. They all started taking pictures of Prajapati instead of the minister. Prajapati's why question completely shifted the energy of the room. His why just didn't make him sound intelligent. It made the entire room see the issue from a different perspective. When you ask why questions, I'm talking about why questions, questions that begin with a why. You are showing that you are thinking beyond the surface. Instead of accepting what is being said, you are diving deeper, just like Prajapati. And that gives off a vibe of intelligence. People often assume that if you're asking why, you must know something that they don't. Have you ever been in a conversation when someone asks you, but why is that? And suddenly you feel, they've hit the nail on the head. It's almost like they've unlocked a whole new level of understanding. That's the power of asking why questions. And guess what? It instantly makes you appear smart. Let's say you're in a meeting and everyone's talking about how to improve a process, any process. Instead of generally agreeing with a general consensus, you ask, why do we think that this process is the most efficient? Now, you're not just a passive participant. You've become an active thinker. And people think of you as more insightful. People often feel impressed when they see someone questioning things thoughtfully. So the next time you're in a conversation, ask why a few times. But remember, never ask why to challenge others. Ask to explore and understand. Avoid asking simple yes or no questions. I call them conversation killers, because the conversation ends when you ask a yes or no question. They don't really give much room for the conversation to grow. Instead, ask open-ended questions, questions that start with how, why, what do you think about this, are great. This is a simple yet effective trick to demonstrate your smartness. Imagine you go to a networking event. You don't know anyone there. You read the room and decide one person that you'll start the conversation with. You ask, guess what is the one thing I noticed about you? They will immediately say, what? With a smile. Then suddenly they'll be interested in you. Why? Why are they interested? Because you've triggered their curiosity. Now they want to speak with you. They're dying of imagination what you might have to say. You've got all their attention. You look smart. That simple question which you asked, guess what is the one thing I noticed about you? They felt you noticed them. You gave them importance. This is a question which always works. You can give a reply, whatever might be the right reply at that point of time. For example, you can say, you're standing absolutely firm and straight. No slouching, no leaning. You look so fit. You must be a fitness buff. While saying all this, you look at them in the eye. Give them that eye contact. Nod. Maybe even lean in a little. What does this do? It makes the other person feel valued and like they matter. And whenever they're replying, you listen. Believe it or not, when you listen carefully, you also come across as smarter. You're not just asking questions for the sake of it. You're actively engaging and processing what they are saying. People pick up on that. There is science behind this. When someone listens to us, their body releases hormones. Hormones that make us feel good. Happy conversations increase levels of oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins. We naturally like the other person, we appreciate him, and we find him smarter. Ever noticed how some people just seem really smart in conversations, even when they're not saying much? It's not because they are TED Talk people, they are TED speakers, or they're using big words. It's actually because they're experts at listening, active listening. especially after they've asked a question. It's like a secret superpower, instantly makes you seem thoughtful, sharp, tuned in to what is happening around you. Let me share an example. Don't we all like that barista who remembers how we like our coffee? Because he heard us when we told him our choice of coffee last time. And he remembers it now. We find him smart. Let's say you're at a coffee shop, okay? One morning, grabbing your morning caffeine fix, and the barista asks you, "Your usual today?" Now, most of us would immediately respond with something like, "Yes, a large cappuccino, please." And that's it. But one day, try this one day. Instead of just answering and waiting for your coffee, if you give your answer, then ask, "How's your morning going?" Ask the barista, "How's your morning going? Been busy today?" As he responds, you focus completely on what he's saying. You give him your full attention, nod when he's saying something. Maybe even ask a follow-up question based on what he just told you. Maybe he mentions how crazy busy the morning rush is. You could say, "Wow, is that like every morning?" Now, even though you're in a casual conversation, you're already standing out as someone who listens. You're not just rattling off your order and walking away, you're showing genuine interest in the person behind the counter. And at that moment, believe you me, you look so much smarter than any other person just waiting for their coffee without engaging in a conversation. It's a small gesture, but it makes you seem more connected, more observant, more empathetic, all the qualities that make a person incredibly smart. The point is, asking questions and then actively listening doesn't just make you smart. It actually makes you smarter in conversations and immediately. So the next time you're in a conversation, whether it's a coffee shop, work meeting, or you're just hanging out with friends, try this. Ask a thoughtful question, and when they respond, listen actively and watch how you become smarter to them. Having said that, don't pretend, be a genuine speaker, be a genuine listener, be genuine in whatever you do. It's a little trick, but it works every time. At the beginning of this episode, I shared a message from Anupriya who wrote to me on my email from Mumbai. Once again, I'm sharing her message. She said she was in customer care. She was looking for a solution how to speak to people because people would hang up on her. People would say, "We're not interested." So I hope, Anupriya, you found the answer now. You've understood that when you're making cold calls as a customer care representative, the key is to keep things friendly, keep them engaging. Start warmly in a warm tone, introduce yourself. "Hi, this is Anupriya from XYZ company. How's your day going?" This simple question breaks the ice, makes the conversation feels less like a sales pitch. Next, ask open-ended questions. Get the client talking about their needs, not what you're selling. For example, "I'd love to know what kind of product service you're currently using, and if there's anything you wish it did differently." This shows you care about what they need, not just what you're selling. And the most important part, actively listen. Pay attention to their responses. They'll give you the cues how you should talk. And let them know you're hearing them by saying things like, "I hear what you're saying. That's a great point." This builds trust and makes you look intelligent, caring, and smart. All the qualities people look for in a customer care or a sales representative. The bottom line is, when you ask questions, show real interest. You'll not only come across as smarter, but you'll also make the other people feel heard, feel valued, and who doesn't want that kind of a conversation? Oh, and if you're curious about the whole asking questions thing, I actually talk at length about it in another episode of my podcast. Just scroll down to the episodes, you won't miss it. If you still can't find the link, Just ask me on my Insta handle, which is communicate101, or shoot me an email at info@sarikasingh.in. I'm super easy to find. Plus, I always love to talk to you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips with Sarika Singh. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow the podcast. I'll be back to share more stories, more life experiences, and more communication tips every Friday. If you want to reach me or connect with me, just put your comments in the comment box below or mail me at info@sarikasingh.in. I know you're going to rate and review this podcast, so a big thank you in advance. Stay tuned and think about what we talked today.